Oh, beautiful. Good evening and wonderful evening to everyone joining us this beautiful evening. It's another Thursday, another wonderful time to learn all about real estate. We have been doing this series now. This is the edition in this series, and past two editions have been mind blowing. Feedback has been amazing. And today's edition, too, will even blow your mind more. There's so much to learn about this real estate industry. There's so much about it that many people do make mistakes, many people fall into error, and many people run away from it because they've heard bad stories. So this is why we set this up. This is why I set this up so that you and everyone watching this can learn real truths and real truth and information about the real estate market. It is for everyone. It's not only for the rich people, it's not only for the extremely wealthy. You can be an investor in real estate, you can be a landowner, you can be a landlord, but you need to know how to do it the proper way. So this evening I have an amazing guest. He's in the waiting room already. I'm bringing him on. He's an amazing guest. His name is Oladeji Ebishemiju. Oladeji Ebishemiju is my egbo, so to say. Let me bring him on right now. Oh, great. He's here. Like I was saying, Oladeji Ebishemi is my big brother. I'm so pleased to have him here today. And I'm sure you guys, your mind, learn so much from him because he has been in this industry way long before some of us even started thinking about being a realtor or being in real estate. So just sit tight. If you are not here yet, invite people, tell them we are live because we're about to learn great and amazing things. Big bros, can you hear me? So while we are waiting for his network, like I said, Oladeji Ebishemiju, let me just give you a little introduction about whom we are having here. He is a graduate of Estate Management from Federal University of Technology, Akure, that's FUTA. He studied estate management, so it's not only in real estate by chance, he studied it in school. He also has a postgraduate diploma in public administration. If you are familiar with him, Ebishemid is not only in the real estate industry, he also contributes a lot to public policy, to public discourse, to the political terrain. So we have someone who is an all-rounder here. Are you here, sir? Can you hear me? I'm still trying to figure out. Can you hear me, sir?
Um, I think there's a glitch.
Oh, okay.
There is good day.
So it's a glitch like 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, the network is still trying to figure out the network over there. So like I was saying about Oladeji Ebishemiju is a member of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. He's also a member, Estate Surveyors and Valuer Registration Board of Nigeria. He's also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, member, Institute of Personnel Management Association of Nigeria. So it's such a huge privilege to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for honoring this invitation, coming right on time. I do not take this for granted. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Ayodeji, so it's an honor to be a part of this program today, and I'm sure that our listeners and those who will be watching us will have a great time. with us this evening. Good evening, everyone, once again.
Great. Thank you so much. I told you earlier that he has been a practitioner in the real estate industry for over 8 years. He owns an estate agency or an estate firm that has handled hundreds of millions in real estate transactions. So if your company can do this without issues for 8 years, you know that this person knows what he is doing. These are people who knows the rules, the regulation, and they play by the books. So these are the people you want to listen to before you venture into real estate at all. Also, before I got into real estate, before I started thinking about real estate, it's always someone I reach out to when I have questions about real estate, or maybe I'm about to. There was a time I wanted to sell a piece of land somewhere. I had to consult. He gave me the right directions to go about it. As at then, I was not into real estate as an active investor. I was, just trying to sell land, and he has always been there for me so many times. So again, it's a privilege to have him here. I hope his network is sorted right now. I'm trying to battle. I mean, we are battling with the network on his end, but I think that will be fixed. So kindly hold on as we try to find an appropriate area where there is good network. Sorry, sir. I think Nigerian network is showing you some little challenges this night.
Well, it's a factor that we have to deal with in the Nigeria of today. We have to change
So
locations and change locations until you get the right place for the network. But I'm here now. I think it's better where I am now, so we can go ahead.
great, great. So yes, like I've introduced you, and some bit about what you'll be talking about the property market, how to make profits from it. So you can just give us a brief introduction of what you are talking about tonight.
Good evening once again, everyone. Sorry in the network. It's not a fault of us. It's something we have to deal with. So we'll be talking today on how to profit from the Nigeria's property markets. And I want to welcome everyone to this wonderful presentation on the topic I have mentioned earlier. As we may want to know, Nigeria's property market is a thriving sector in the Nigerian economy, and this sector is driven by a growing demand for housing and commercial spaces. The rapid urbanization and government initiatives to stimulate growth is what is driving the real estate market in Nigeria. So, with the right strategies and knowledge, investors can unlock significant profit potential in this booming industry. And in this presentation, we will explore the key opportunities, the strategies, and the tips for success in Nigeria's property markets. And these strategies and tips will help you to make informed decisions and maximize your returns, whether you are a seasoned investor or you are a first-time investor. All what we'll be discussing this evening will go a long way in helping you to make decisions in its market. So once again, I welcome everybody. I welcome all of you to this presentation, and it's going to be very interactive and enjoyable for us all.
Thank you so much, sir. So let's just go straight to the point. I wouldn't want to keep you here for long. So, in your opinion, let's look at the current state of the real estate market in Nigeria. What's your opinion about it? What do you see? What are the prospects? Are there prospects? Is it a good time? Is it a bad time?
Well, the real estate market in Nigeria has been a very welcoming one, irrespective of what the economy is looking like. I must tell you that there's growing demand for affordable housing in Nigeria. There's growing demand for high-end residential and commercial properties in Nigeria. There's growing demand for land and landed properties in Nigeria. So the real estate markets over the years has been very lucrative, irrespective of what the economy looks like in Nigeria. You see, one sector of the economy that has refused to downtimes, that has refused to yield to economic depression is the real estate market. Because if you go to every nooks and cranny of the country, even when the country, when we were ravaged with COVID-19 in 2019, 2020, go to every nook and crannies of this country, you will see that development was going on. So that's the real estate market is one sector of the economy that is not affected, that is not adversely affected by the harsh economic conditions of the country. So it's a sector that is booming, that keeps booming every now and then. You see investors coming in, both local and international investors coming in to invest in the real estate sectors. You see people, organizations, companies coming together to invest in the real estate sector, and that is the reason why you know that the real estate market in Nigeria is a sector that one should try to be a part of. We all need to look at what we can do in that sector because it's a sector that you cannot put your money in and lose it.
Oh, wow, interesting. I think I want to start from that part where you said the real estate market has been one of the few, I think you said either one of the few or the only industry that has survived economic downturns, inflations, and the likes. What do you think is really responsible for this? Because sometimes when you tell people the real estate, I mean, when we say the real estate industry or when you invest in real estate, your investments cannot depreciate or that inflation cannot, destroy your investment, so to say. What exactly is the that factor? What is the X factor that makes real estate immune to all these economic situations?
Okay. It has been projected, but that the population of Nigeria will grow to 440 million by this. That means the population of Nigeria is increasing at a ratio of 4.5, between 4.5% and 6.5% every year. So by
Every year.
2050, it is estimated that our population would have grown to 440 million. And what does this mean? This means that the demand for housing will continue to increase. Will continue to increase every day. We continue to see people migrate from rural area to the urban area. We continue to see that children begins to grow to adults. They begin to leave their parents' houses in search for they're starting their own families and they want to have their own houses. So demand for housing continue to increase every day. So that is one of the reasons why the real estate market is continue to we continue to have demand for housing in Nigeria. The demand for housing continues to increase every day. Every day. As of 2010, the demand the it was said that to cover the housing deficit in Nigeria, the government the government in collaboration with the private sector needs to bring in 1 million houses every year. But as of 2024 that we are in now, the government and private sector need to come together to provide not less than 2.5 million houses in order to meet the housing deficit that we have in the country now. And this is not ruling out the fact that we live in the rural area and we have more people demand for houses in the urban area. So the demand for housing is the key factor that has made real estate a booming sector of the economy of Nigeria.
Oh, great. Thank you, sir, for that. Because I also remember I read that statistic somewhere that Nigeria's population is growing at a rapid rate, and these people will always need somewhere to put their head. That's one basic human need. Shelter is one of the needs. It tops the needs of every human. So humans will always need shelter, and that's what Olade Jebishimiju just mentioned right now. Sir, I also want to ask because you hammered on residential real estate. In your opinion, can you weigh residential and commercial real estate? Where do you think the prospect is more? If you probably are advising someone, where will you say put your money there? Real estate, residential real estate, or commercial real estate? Did you get the question?
I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
Okay, I'll go through the question again. I said you mentioned or you made serious mention of the residential real estate as one of the primary factors. I mean, and people need shelter, and that's the primary factor that's making real estate viable. Standing against inflation and economic downturns. That's for residential real estate. In your opinion, because I also want us to talk about commercial real estate. If you're advising someone, where would you say the person should put his money in? Commercial real estate or residential real estate?
Ah, I didn't get that clearly.
Is it the network or my audio?
I didn't get the. Can you come again, please?
Okay, let me go over it again. Which is
Okay.
the best in your opinion? Commercial real estate or residential real estate?
Okay. Now we'll be looking at it from different perspectives. If you are both residential real estate and commercial real estate have their own advantages and disadvantages. If you are investing in residential real estate, then you know that you'll be looking at areas where housing accommodation is in high demand. And if you're looking at commercial real estate, you'll be looking at the commercial corridors of the cities or the town that you're looking maybe. In you need to be certain that where you are putting up this structure is an area where that is open. Just mentioned, use the case study of a particular structure, a particular shopping complex that builds somewhere along with Idonre Road. Idonre Road is after Okia.
Yes. That's in
As of
Akure.
that time, 2005, was almost I could call that place a rural area because it was not fully developed, and an investor went to that area to erect a
Hey, the network is not allowing.
unoccupied. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
So
Yes, do the network
so
glitch a bit.
I was saying that this particular complex that was sited somewhere along Idonre Road in Okiaro as of 2005 was unoccupied for almost 10 years. And the reason is
Oh,
not far-fetched. You will not go and invest in build a commercial property in an area that is not developed, an area that is not attracting business as of that time. So that investor as of that time didn't get proper consultation, didn't do proper consultation before going to invest in that area. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that we need to look at carry out a feasibility study of what you want to do, which area are you looking at before you invest in real estate. So both the commercial real estate and the residential real estate, they are both profitable, but we need to be certain of where we want to put this investment so that at the end of the day, we will not have spent so much on this investment and we'll have void years where when money will not be coming in, because anyone that goes into investment wants to begin to make returns almost immediately the property is completed. So it will not make any economic sense if I now go to my village in the Rhine area in the name that I want to put something in my village, and I'll go to my village to erect a mansion there. Nobody will go there to rent it because that is not the kind of property they need in that particular environment. So we need to look at it very carefully and professionally before we go into this investment. So both the residential real estate investment and the commercial real estate investment are good. They will bring in good returns if we carry out a feasibility viability appraisal before the construction.
Oh, thank you, sir. What you just mentioned about proper consultation and people not getting consultation before they delve into real estate investments. It reminds me of something that happened to someone that I know. He actually, I've been advising him to make some real estate moves, but he told me that, just later he went to buy a piece of land somewhere in his hometown, and he actually built the property for the purpose of rental income. And just, I think about 2 or 3 months ago, he told me that that property has been costing him much more than he has spent so far, that he had to dispose the property at lesser than the market value because the property was draining him. And I didn't want to tell him I told you so because we're talking as friends.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
where is the place of proper consultation? I mean, why do you think people run away from consulting proper real estate consultants instead of just going ahead to spend, or let me call it, lose their money on that investment when there's a consultant that can actually guide them properly? Why do people avoid this and just jump the step?
Well, there are several reasons why people run away from consultants when they want to carry out any job. And the first reason is because they see it as additional costs. They see it as additional cost, not forgetting that there's nothing like jack of all trade. You cannot be an expert on all in all fields. So you need to give to a carpenter the job of a carpenter. You need to give to a welder the job of a welder. A fisherman cannot say because, yes, what he does is hunting, and now say that he will bring that experience he uses in fishing to the bush to say he wants to come and hunt antelope. You get what I'm saying? So there's need for us to first know that there are professionals in every field. Despite that, I am in the real estate company. I am a realtor. I will not say yes because I learned architecture 101 in school, and because of that, I now want to design a building. No, when it comes to building design, I know the people to consult are the architects. They are member of the building teams, even though I know I can still do some drafts and all that, but I will consult them so that I can get the best that I want. So oftentimes, but I know that when I'm doing that consultation, it comes at a cost. It comes at an additional cost, which I have to pay that consultant too. So, but what the reason people run away from the additional costs that will come to them during investment, and most of the time, it now turns to penny wise, pound foolish for most of them. And that is the number one reason. The second reason, I already mentioned it, and that is some people feel that they know it all. There is a particular property I manage in Akure here. During the construction of that property, I kept going there to meet the engineer in charge of the quote unquote engineer in charge of the property. And you won't believe that by the time this property was completed, I I went there for like 2 months. I wasn't at the property, and by the time I got there, I saw that the property was completed. And during inspection, I now begin to check, and I saw that there were lots of defects. There were lots of defects in the construction, from plumbing to electrical to the tiling and all that. So I had to inquire from the property owner that who was the engineer that supervised this construction, and he told me that, oh, our engineer is not an engineer, he's actually my brother. So the property owner looked at, okay, he is not ready to pay a consultant, and he has a brother that says that he knows how to supervise construction. At the end of the day, we spent lots of money in correcting the problem that was that's the error that the engineer supervised. The landlord had to spend extra money to correct this error, because by the time tenants begin to move into that particular property, we see faults everywhere. So we began to do this correction. For the first 2 years that property existed, it was basically corrections, renovation, maintenance. So for that period, the property owner did not really get any much return from his investments. So people they run from the extra expenses, and some of them also think that they know it all, they can do it on their own, not knowing that there's nothing like a jack of all trade. There's a place of the professionals when it comes to real estate, and we need to give them that opportunity to carry out their duties, so that we can have good return on our investment and get good advice when it comes to the consultants in real estate.
Awesome. Thank you. So there's always a place of taking your time. You might not even be spending so much money when when you reach out to consultants, when they guide you through, compared to the money you would lose if you make the bad moves. Because real estate is most times not 50,000 naira. It's not
I didn't get that, please.
100. Yes, I'm trying to say that. I'm trying to corroborate what you said. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you clearly.
All right. So I was corroborating what you said about the importance of consultation with proper professionals, because these investors are not spending 5,000 naira, they are not spending 100,000 naira. Most real estate investments are millions of naira in transaction. So if you are going to be spending less than 100,000 naira, 200,000 naira, or so to say, to consult the right people, why not do that instead of losing your huge sums of money? So thank you so much for that. I also want to ask you,
And
based
and
on
in,
your
in
experience.
addition, before
All right.
before you go ahead, sir, I also want to add that this issues, it even starts from when investors want to purchase the land itself. Now they're willing to do that, of the person who is supposed to guide them, in the documentation of their property. Take for instance, you are investing 20 million naira on a land. It will not cost you more than 1 million naira to pay a professional to help you do proper search on that particular land, to know whether that particular property is genuine, to chart the land and make sure that it is not under government acquisition. They need to pay professionals to carry out this search, to carry out all this search and do proper documentation for them. But oftentimes they run away from this, and that is where the problem starts from. That is when they will not begin to run. When the problem starts, that's when they begin to run from pillar to post. That, oh, I spent so much on this land. Somebody has come to say yes, he's the owner, or the government is coming to take it forcefully from them, forgetting that there was a place of professional which they did not consult. I mean, so I always tell clients, when you are planning to invest in real estate, when you are planning to buy a land, know that there are other costs. Know that there are additional costs that comes with the price of that land. You have to consult a real estate consultant. You need to pay him. You need to know that you will need to get a land surveyor that will help you survey the land. You will need the real estate consultant will still be the one that will help you conduct search. You will need the services of a lawyer to prepare the deed of assignment or sales agreement for you. So you need to put all this into consideration, not just going into the market to say, yes, you have 20 million naira and you are going to buy a property worth 20 million naira. We need to put all other expenses, all additional expenses that comes with purchase of land together before you go to invest in real estate.
Thank you, sir. So now I want to ask you, in your experience so far, I mean, I know you handled property management. You, as much as that's part of what your estate agency does. What's the best? I mean, should I call it the best? But if you're advising a client, on what basis would you advise clients to go for annual rental income or short lets? I don't know if you get that.
Please come again.
Now, I want to ask you, which is your preference so far, based on your experience now? Which is your preference on either annual rental income or short let rental income?
I'm not getting you, sir.
Okay. How about now? Can you hear me at all?
It's breaking, so I'm finding it
Okay.
difficult to hear it. Okay,
Um,
go ahead now, sir. Go ahead.
all right, all right. So I'm trying to ask, based on your experience, which is your preference? Is it annual rental income or short lets? That's for rental income now. Annual rent
Okay, you're
or
saying that
short lets?
which is my you're saying which is my preference between annual
Yes,
rent and short let.
yes,
That's the question, right? You see, this
yes,
depends
correct.
on various factors, which
All
includes
right.
your investment goals. It includes your risk tolerance and the market conditions. That's what determines which one is better. There are no hard and fast rule to this, but both the annual rent and the short rent lets, they both have their pros and their cons. And some of the advantages of annual rent is that you have a stable and predictable income stream. You can determine your income. You know when the rent of your tenants will expire. You know when your rent will come in. You know your rent is predictable and it is stable. And when you have the second advantage of annual rent is that when you have long-term tenants in your property, you tend to have secure rental income. You know that once a tenant is in your property and it's renewed every year, you know that your rent is secure and your property is also secure. So your rent keeps coming in regularly like that. And for for annual rents, there's usually less void periods, especially when your property is located in good area. When I say void periods, I mean periods when you will have
Vacancy.
vacant apartments. Now, for annual rental properties, that is very very minimal, unlike the short leg. But the disadvantages, some of the disadvantage of annual rent is that oftentimes we have lower rental yields. We have lower rental yields for annual rental properties. It varies between 3 to 5% per annum. And so the rental yield is actually lower compared to when you go for a short let. And another disadvantage for annual rental properties is because tenant may not take care of the property, and you keep spending money on maintenance every now and then. If you are unlucky to get a tenant that does not take care of property, then you know that your property will suffer for it, and your rent will suffer for it if you're very unlucky. And some of the time also, rent increases may be limited by the local regulations, as we have in some area where you cannot increase the rent of your property more than a particular percentage, irrespective of what is happening in the economy, irrespective of inflation and all that. There's a cap on the amount you can add as rent review on your property. So those are some of the disadvantages of annual rent. But for short lets also, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Some of the advantages of short let is that it gives you higher rental yields. Unlike the annual rental, which is between 3 to 5%, for short let apartments, it is between 8 to 12% per annum. That is what you get as annual rate, and it is an advantage. That is why some people are running into short let. That's why some people are investing in short let apartments. And there's also flexibility to adjust rates according to demand. For short investors see, if short let owners see that there's high demand for apartments in a particular area, they can increase their rents upwards. And if they see that the demand also comes down, they can also review it downwards, which is an advantage. But some of the disadvantages of short let apartments is that there are also times when there will be void period, when monies will not come in, when there will not be patronage. So rents will be lost at that time, and you will continue to pay for services. You understand? You continue to pay for services for that period when the apartment is not occupied. The security man will be paid, the cleaners will be paid, and all that. So rents will be lost in that period. Then you do not have predictable. There's the unpredictability of income comes in for short let apartments. So both types of renters, the short let and the annual rental apartments, they both have the advantages and the disadvantages. Whoever is going into this kind of investment will have to look at one, where you want to site this business, and which one is more profitable in that particular environment. You will not go to your village. I don't know where you're from, but I will not go to Awo Ekiti to go and set up a short let apartment there, when I know the kind of apartment they want in that place is not more than a room and parlor, a 2-bedroom apartment. Apologies to natives of that community. It was just on the lighter
Just an
note.
example. Just an example.
So that is just it. Both have their own advantages and disadvantages. So you need to carry out your research and your research study very well before investing in either of those investments.
Great. What you just mentioned also, I mean, is leading me to the next question. You have played, or you still play the real estate industry in Akure, in Ondo State, and I also know you are also active in Abuja real estate. So I'll be asking you questions along this line, but I first of all want to ask. Recently, there has been like a, should I say, upward trend in the price of properties, both land, even rents in Akure in Ondo State. What do you think is responsible for this? Why is this happening?
You know, um, there was what we were taught in economics, the law of demand and supply. When the demand is high, when the supply is in high, when you have high supply,
The
then
higher,
the
the higher
high, the
demand,
lower the lower
demand,
the
or
price.
higher the demand, the higher the supply.
Supply, the
Yes,
higher
go on,
demand
sir.
is tendency. There's every tendency that the price will go up. When
Mm,
demand is high, there's every tendency that price will go up. It happens not only in the real estate sector, it happens in all the sectors of the economy. If you go to the market today, you have two people selling, only two persons selling meat in that a particular market. There's every possibility that the price of meat for that particular day will go up if the demand for beef is very high. So
right.
the we cannot increase. So when there is rural urban migration, there's high demand on the amount of space that is available in the city. So there's every tendency that price for land and landed property will go up. So rural urban migration is the key, is a major factor that is influencing the rise in property values in the major cities of Nigeria. You cannot go to Lagos today. In Lagos, you not less than 1 million naira as rent, apart from all other expenses that will come with it. You need to have at least 1 million naira as rent in Lagos. And the reason is that the demand for housing in Lagos is very high, despite the efforts of government in constructing the government investing in low cost housing estates and building properties everywhere, but then the demand the supply is still way lower than the demand. So prices of um, properties continue to go up, both land and developed structure, residential and commercial alike. So the rural urban migration is what is responsible for the high cost of real estate in Nigeria. Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, the network has been shaky tonight. As you are experiencing network downturn on your side, I'm also experiencing it here. But despite the
Don't worry,
network, we have been having a very,
we'll overcome it. By
yes,
the
we
time
will.
we by the time we start using the 5G, we'll overcome it.
5G or Starlink.
Uh,
So it's been an amazing conversation so far. If you are just joining us, I've been speaking with Oladeji Ebishemeju, and he has been dropping some very important gems about real estate investments in Nigeria. He has talked about issues like, you know, performing due diligence. He has talked about risk appetite, how to know the kind of investment you should delve into. He has talked about so many things, and it's been an amazing conversation so far. So let's just move ahead. I'm reading the section, and I'm seeing some feedback from the comment section. I can see some people are really getting value from this. So thank you so much again, sir. I I'm going to be asking you now. We are still talking about the Akure Abuja. I think thankfully you talked about demand and supply being the key factor that led to the increase in value of properties in Akure, Ondo State. I also want to ask because I think one thing Akure is also kind of, it's not only Akure anyway, it's the real estate generally. People The cases of people buying land and discovering that the same land they bought was also bought from another person or by another person. That's one person has sold one piece of land to two, three, or even four people. This happens a lot in Akure. What do you think investors can do to avoid getting into this trouble? When they want to buy land, what should they do before going into that transaction?
I lost you at some
Okay,
points. I didn't get.
okay, I guess you didn't get that. I'm talking about that
Yes.
the fact that sometimes people buy land, especially in Akure, and they discover that more people have bought that land. Probably two, three, or four people have bought the same piece of land. How do people really avoid getting into this kind of trouble? What are the steps that they should take? What are the steps investors should take before buying a piece of land and ensuring that they are the only one that owns that piece of land?
Okay. There's need for anyone who is going into real estate investment, especially you want to buy a parcel of land. There's need for you to carry out your due diligence when you want to before you make payment to anybody, be it an agent or supposed owner of that piece of land. And one of the ways I did a series, if you remember, Ayodeji, sometimes ago, when I spoke on the 10 commandments of purchasing land in Nigeria.
Yes,
I
yes, I
outlined
remember that.
the 10 things we need to do before we purchase a land in Nigeria. And the first thing is that to contact a professional before you go ahead to purchase a land. You contact a professional, and the whole of the job will now be hung on the neck of that professional to carry out both due diligence on the property to know who to identify who the genuine owner of that property is. And in doing that, it is expected that the professional will go around that neighborhood to even inquire, because there's no land that stands in isolation. You need to first go around in that neighborhood and identify and ask questions from property owners in that environment. Who owns that particular land? If I have a land on a street, definitely there will be neighbors around. It is that I go to people who are located around there to ask questions. That is on one
Mm,
hand. Then the second step is to also go ahead to the Ministry of Lands to to chart that particular land to be sure that it does not fall under government acquisition. That is very, very important. Oftentimes that happens to people but right now we are talking about falling into hands of people of landowners who sell to who sells to multiple people. So once you have conducted a search and you identify the owners, you ensure that you carry out your proper documentation. That is where the place of a lawyer comes in. That's when the place of a lawyer comes in. The lawyer now will now be the one to know who, and especially when it is a family land, the lawyer will know who and who needs to be involved in executing that particular sales agreement or deed of assignment, as the case may be. So there's a place of the professional who will go out there and make inquiries from people around there, help you to conduct your search and chart the property. And there's also the place of the lawyer who will help you in preparing a good agreement that will, as it were, help protect you from would-be scammers, because oftentimes most of this crisis happens even within the same between brothers, between siblings in the same family. So contacting a lawyer will go a long way in helping you in protecting you when it comes to preparation of the agreement, of the sales agreement or the deed of assignment, as the case may be. So there's the place of due diligence. It is important that one carries out the due diligence, and it is the function, the works of professionals to do this for investors.
Thank you so much, sir. Like some of people that that knows you well. I can see a comment here that's saying the demand for properties are on high, but it takes a good real estate manager to identify a lucrative area to invest. And that's where Oladiji comes in with his technicalities. Okay, I see your people are here, sir. So
Thank you very much, Aisa and Ayodele.
testifying to some of the amazing things you do in the industry.
Okay,
Um,
I want to quickly say something. I want to quickly say something based on the comment that was made by Ayisa and Ayodele here. You know, a few months ago, someone very close to him wanted in Akure, and he had to tell the person that, oh, he has somebody in Akure who can help him work on that. Meanwhile, that his friend has been speaking with someone already. So by the time I came in, we went around to to inspect this property, and I realized that those properties actually had issues. We inspected like 2, 3 properties, and I pointed out where problems are on that particular property. And he was on the verge. His friend was on the verge of paying for those properties. But as God will have it, he contacted me, and I was able to guide his friend to purchase a property that has no crisis whatsoever. And I guess that was the reason why he made that comment there. Thank you very much, Aisha and
thank,
Ayodele, for um, attesting to our professionalism.
thank you. Another comment here is saying, and it's an insightful session with distinguished realtors. Thank you, James Samuel. And we also have another comment from
Okay.
Mokungade Oladipupo James saying, thank you for this eye-opening session. Thank you. It has been, thank you for the amazing comments. We'll be rounding this off in about 5 minutes. I don't want to keep my guy here more than necessary. But I just want to ask you, sir, are you there? Can you hear me, sir? Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe Shemit, you can hear me.
Hello, sir.
Please confirm if you can hear me.
I can hear you, sir.
All right, great. Okay, so I want us to talk about Abuja because recently
Okay.
I someone was asking me questions about Abuja, and I don't.
I can hear you. I can't hear you. Hello. Ah, the network has been terrible. Hello, Mr. Ayodeji.
I can hear you. I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Please, can you go over the
Oh,
question
great.
again?
Yes. Um, I was talking about the Abuja real estate markets.
Markets.
Someone was
Yeah.
making inquiries, and I actually told the person that I don't know about Abuja real estate. There's little I can tell you, but thank God for someone like you who has been in that industry too, in that market. Because I understand that in Abuja there is the Abuja Geographic Information System, AGIS, there is FCDA land, there is what's it called now? Is it I think RFO also to say there are so many things I hear about Abuja real estate
Mhm.
that are not, common in this part. So can you just tell us a bit about the Abuja real estate market? Because I know there are people who probably want to invest in Abuja that are also watching this.
Okay. Just like every other city in Nigeria, the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, is not is also witnessing and experiencing urban migration. People are moving into the Federal Capital Territory every day because of the um, high possibility for growth in that in the Federal Territory, and really affected the value of real estate in Abuja. And you see that scammers or land fraudsters are taking advantage of this opportunity of this the high demand for housings and land in FCT to defraud innocent Nigerians or people who are also not diligent enough during their search
Mm,
for real estate. What I will say, because um, what I will say is that whether you want to rent an apartment in the Federal Capital Territory or anywhere in Nigeria, or you want to even buy a land, you need to ensure that you do your research and understand what the laws of that particular state or that particular city says. Because in Akure, it might be that when you purchase a land, you cannot develop more than 25% of that particular land, or 35% of that particular
mm,
land be the same thing. So there's need for you to carry out a thorough research of the environment where you are going to invest in very well. And like I have been saying from the beginning, and that is where professionals come in. Am I saying that professionals don't make mistakes? No. Professionals
mm,
also make genuine mistakes sometimes, but
sure.
oftentimes they tend to give the best advice when it comes to real estate investment. So there's need for you to conduct your research very well, seek the services of professionals in whatever you want to do when it comes to real estate investment, and you have to be sure about in carrying out your research. You need to be sure about the location you are going into. There's an estate in Abuja. I do not want to mention the name here. The government has already paid compensation. The government has already paid compensation to the families, quote and unquote, now that owned that land during the days of Babangida. They had already paid compensation to the owners, but because the government has not have need for that particular land, we still have people go to that particular area to sell land, claiming that they are the owners of the land. But by the time the government came in 2021, government just went there and started to demolish, and that was when homeowners began to cry foul that, oh, the government has come to demolish our house, not knowing that the the grandfathers that owned that land had already been compensated for that particular land. So there's need for us to carry out due diligence in whatever we want to do that has to do with real estate. You go to the FCTA, you go to the local government, you go to the ministries to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's before you make any form of payment for land in Abuja, and just like any other place that you want to invest in. And that same thing goes for apartments. You want to rent an apartment, you have to be sure. In these days when we have multiple agents marketing the same property, you won't even know who the direct agent is. So you need to be certain. You need to carry out due diligence before you put your money into any form of real estate investment, especially in the cities where property and apartments are in high demand.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. We have exactly who we are on this live session, and I'll be releasing you soon. I just want you to what advice would you give to first time real estate investors in Nigeria? Someone wants to invest in real estate for the first time. What advice will you give to them?
Okay, I'm going to mention about between 6 and 10 tips for first-time real estate investors in Nigeria. One, ensure that you research and understand the market very well before you go into it. You need to study the current trends, that is the demand and supply in the area you are interested in. That is number one. Number two, there's need for you to set clear goals and objectives. You need to define your investment goals. Okay, is it short term? Any form of real estate investment. Then, most importantly, there's need for you to seek professional advice before you go into real estate investment. Consult with experienced real estate professionals, lawyers, and even your financial advisors before you invest in real estate. And number four, you don't um, you don't start big. As a first-time investor in real estate, you don't put the whole of your investment in one basket. You don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Great. Okay, the network has gone off on your end too. Well, I think so far so good. If you were following, Ebishemejo has listed some very, very good tips. Talked about due diligence, talked about don't jump. I'm not sure we still have Mr. Ebishemiju online. Network has been a major hindrance tonight, but despite that, I believe that you got value. I believe that you watching this got value, and there's so much to take home from this. After this session, we are going to have the replay. It will still be kept on YouTube, so you can have access to the replay. Um, I'm not sure we have Ebishemiju back so that you can
I'm
just give
here.
his.
I'm here. I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Since the network has, it's like it's going getting worse, or should I say, it's getting worse. So, we've had a beautiful conversation so far. So I think we can round off on this note. Um, we can round off on this note. So I want to say thank you so much for honoring my invitation. The moment I reached out to you, you did not hesitate at all. You just said you are game and we should go on with this. So I do not take this for granted. I'm very, very grateful for coming out from your busy schedule. I know all the things, or let me not say all the things. I know some of the things that you do, some of your other activities, and so it's such a privilege to have you on this platform. Thank you for speaking with the audience tonight. And I'm sure so many people will watch this video, and through this webinar, they will make the right investment decisions. Thank you so much, sir. All right. Um, I'm sure Mr. Ibishemiji would have gotten the message. So thank you so much for everyone that joined us. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the comments on YouTube, on Facebook. It's been an amazing session, and we are going to do this again next week. We are going to have another amazing time next week. So stay glued to this channel, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, and also follow Ebishemiju on Facebook, follow him on Instagram, very active. And if you want to reach out to him, if you don't have his contact, I can always help you to contact him. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night's rest. See you on the next one. My name is Ayodeji. Thank you.